Okay. I pledge allegiance to
To
the
the flag
of the United States
States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands,
One
one nation, under God,
God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, welcome everybody. I'm just trying to pull up the agenda here. I apologize. I'm switching through computers. Okay. Approval of regular meeting minutes from July 6th, 2020, and B, approval of special meeting minutes July 20th, 2020.
I move we accept consent items A and B, regular and special meeting minutes.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All approved. Action items. A, payment of general vouchers for $30,402.63. B, payment of payroll vouchers for $19,862.42. C, payment of water fund vouchers for $112.62. And D, payment of payroll vouchers for $3,374.73.
What those are last month, the taxes were made out to IRS, LNI, retirement. I didn't get them changed over to Kitsap Bank. So it's not more money. We just voided the checks and we're making them out to the right place.
Second. Is it last month's?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I think there was, did you say 3,374? It's 3,774.
And 73 cents, correct.
Right, okay. I'll move that we accept payroll vouchers A, B, C, and D.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, all approved. Commissioners report?
I just did the two meetings this month. That was pretty much it. Oh, I guess I should say we did have a board meeting for the North Mason Community Voice. That has been kind of interesting. We need some more members. We're going to accept we're going to accept new board members this coming month. You know, with COVID, it's really kind of put a monkey wrench in everything.
Yes.
Commissioner.
So I did the two port meetings, the regular and special meeting. I did an EDC meeting. You know, once again, EDC is working really hard on getting the grant money out for businesses and helping the businesses and people with unemployment. Boy, you know, what a group that's come through in a pinch here for us, and we should be real proud of that group and what they've done for this county and the businesses. It's been really tough on people, and they've been there for us and for the business community. I'm proud to be part of that group and call them, associates. We've decided to do Zoom meetings through January, regardless of what the governor decides for us to do. It's worked out pretty well. It saves me about a 40-minute trip there, 40-minute trip back. It's a little more convenient for me. I do miss the face-to-face, the interaction with people. You know, that some of the best meeting material happens before and after the meeting. So I do look forward to getting back to those face-to-face meetings, but for now we're going to do Zoom through January. And it's tough for them too, because they're not doing the business recruitment, they're not doing the get-togethers that we normally do, the training classes that we do. So yeah, it affects them just like it affects everybody else, but we are meeting monthly and continue on the best we can with what we're doing with that group. That was it.
And if I attended two meetings, but if I could continue on with the EDC, they've been amazing. There's some things that we're working on, one of the things that Commissioner Cooper and Commissioner Scott is a hygiene bus. I think we could all pick up on that. We don't have any hygiene when Belfair State Park shuts down. So I'll present something here in the next couple of months, but we're trying to work something out. So.
Great.
Okay, Executive Director's report, Security Officer's report.
Okay, since Travis isn't here, I'll do that. 7/1/2020, hours 0900. Don O'Keefe and I inspected the newly acquired property boarding the Allyn waterfront facility. Pictures were taken of each room and return of the split HVAC system was documented. No one appears to be living in the house currently. 7/3, hours 2350. Excuse me. Allyn waterfront entrance is barricaded off to close the park for the 4th of July due to phase 3 statewide gathering restriction. One lone car trapped inside the barricaded area left a port-of-bound security business card with instructions, also ticketed for non-payment for overnight parking. July 4th, 0500, Don O'Keefe began coverage of the barricaded area to ensure no one broke through the barrier to gather inside the park. The owner of the vehicle arrived in another car with someone else driving. The owner of the car paid overnight parking using the kiosk, and Don removed the barricade so the owner could leave. July 4th, 1900 to 2400, 4th of July, park closure shift. Due to the state gathering restrictions, I recommended to Larry we close the Allyn waterfront facility. He agreed and said he would notify the port commissioners. During the time frame I was on site, I turned away 79 vehicles from entering the park during the hours 7 p.m. to midnight. The only incident experienced during this time frame was a woman driving a small car, came and parked in the area meant for vehicles to turn around. I waited about 5 minutes to give her a little time to view the water area, but then more vehicles arrived and I needed the area to clear to keep vehicles from jamming up. I then asked her to move along due to park closure and safety reasons. I was told I was discriminating her handicap status and she wanted to view the fireworks and she couldn't walk out onto the dock where the closure was in effect. I replied that regardless, where the closure wasn't in effect, I'm sorry. Regardless how you feel about it, I still need you to leave so vehicles don't cause a safety issue. Yeah, excuse me. And I've asked everyone to leave once being parked here became a safety issue for vehicles trying to turn around due to the park closure. This driver then left her car after using some choice words relaying her dissent. 7/8, 0920, Leanne called me about a complaint from Ken Van Buskirk about brush pickers at the Sweetwater Park property. Until I've been shown the boundary lines of our area of jurisdiction, taking action is not advised. I will await instruction and discussion of the level of security the port wishes me to take on the newly acquired Sweetwater Park property. 7/28, hours 1240. I learned from Larry that a future renter of the gazebo area for a wedding complained about him about a homeless vet with one leg in a sleeping bag when they were showing the venue to some others in their wedding party on 2 separate occasions. I'd not seen anything to the effect of the individual they're referring to. I told Larry I'd be sure to keep my eye out for evidence of this complaint. Also, I'd be sure to walk the entire property Saturday evening before their use of the venue on Sunday. 7/29, 1640, I reached out to Don O'Keefe about the report of the homeless vet with one leg in the sleeping bag. He is there most mornings by 6 a.m. to start his work every day, and he's not experienced anything of this complaint's nature. So that's Travis's report.
Are there any questions?
Nope, not for me.
Okay, we'll move on to the Executive Director's report.
All right, financial issues. We were beginning to see revenue coming in from the boat launches, selling annual passes, and it started booking reservations in the gazebo again. However, the governor's latest order restricting gatherings caused most of the gazebo reservations to be canceled. Basically, our gazebo revenue is beholden to the governor's ever-changing whims at this point. County has a little over $3 million in care funds and will be distributing them sometime soon. As of now, there isn't a formal application process in place, but I talked to Frank Pinder at the county and he said he will notify me when they're ready to accept applications and let me know how the process works so we can apply. Also put a discussion item on the agenda concerning ideas for creating new longer-term revenue streams. Endurance, we received our invoice from Endurance for the coverage year 2020-2021, and they kept their promise about a substantial increase. The amount of the invoice was $24,114, up from $21,000 this year. We didn't have an invoice at the time we did the updated budget, so we just made an educated guess based on what Endurance had previously told us. If there's any good news in this, it's that we saved $800 over what we estimated in the updated budget. I'd previously asked them if we're covered for loss of income from our facilities due to COVID-19. They answered possibly, so I opened a claim early on, but as of yet, there's been no action one way or another. Electrical issue, the equipment was delivered, installed, tested, and inspected. It's all good to go. Cost of doing all this retrofitting, over $16,000, was in the vouchers you approved and was covered by the grant. And we've already been reimbursed for that. North Shore electrical issue. The PUD is going to install some lighting in the parking lot across the street from the boat launch. They're going to set a pole there with 2 lights aimed towards the back of the lot. It hasn't happened yet, but is scheduled for the same time we get the ditch done for undergrounding the wires at the ramp light, hopefully late this week. We'll also install an extra conduit in the ditch to accommodate new security cameras when the time comes. Water system issues, we'd requested a 3-year extension on the new well installation deadline, and Ecology has expressed a willingness to grant that if we can address and satisfy the concerns of the Squaxin tribe in relation to impacts on Sherwood Creek. I'd contacted Aspect Consulting, who dealt with the tribal issues at the time the original well was drilled, and spoke with the person who handled the original application. Sent him copies of all of our communications with Ecology. I've had a couple of calls into him and I'm still waiting for a response. Also met with Joe Cederlin and we took a field trip to his project site off Wheelwright so I could get an idea of where he's planning on building next and to figure out where we have infrastructure in the ground and where we need to expand it. Talked to him about him possibly expanding our infrastructure and trading him some connections for the cost. He was very open to that. I also had a call on Friday from Housing Kitsap. They purchased 12 lots off of Wheelwright for a self-help housing project. Wanted to know what they needed to do to connect to our system. North Mason School District issue. We've been approached by the school district about helping them utilize distance learning. The issue is that in order to keep social distancing in the classroom, they can't have full classes. So they're opting to switch off students with classroom time and distance learning. The problem is a lot of kids don't have broadband at home for various reasons and can't participate in distance learning. What the school district approached us with is if we will allow them to use our meeting room and Wi-Fi for their distance learning effort. There'll be a teacher in the room at all times with no more than a dozen kids. They will sanitize the room when they're finished. I said, as long as it isn't a time when the room's previously or regularly booked, I didn't see a real problem with this. Security issues. As you know, we've been discussing high resolution wireless remote cameras here at the park, as well as Hood Canal Boat Launch and Marina. Nothing new to report on this at this time, but expect we'll have something in the near future, looking into grant opportunities.
I'm sorry, Laurie. Can we, do we need to do an approval to allow the school district to come in? I think it's something that we should be allowing them to do, so.
Well, if you want to, just do it under new business.
Got it.
You know, it was just, I thought it was my decision, so.
No, I think it's a wonderful idea.
No.
Yeah, I concur.
Water leak. We have some kind of water leak outside the building that we can't find or repair. So we've called in the same people who repaired the well house water line to find it and fix it. WPPA meeting schedule. WPPA still hasn't made a decision about the annual meeting, whether it'll be virtual or in person, more as things develop. Renting our small office and the totem pole issue. Nothing new to report on either one of those. Old business. Oyster House. Envirotech was out here on July 7th with the boring machine doing the test borings for the overwater platform pilings. Art Anderson's associates asked for a topographical survey of the site. Since we can't find any previous information on this, we've asked NL Olson and Associates, excuse me, which has done work for us here before to do one. Both the cost of the test borings included in Envirotech's bid and the survey are covered in the grant. Once Envirotech is finished and the survey done, the engineering and design work can be finished. After those things are done, we can proceed with the Army Corps permit. Once we have that, we can begin the launch ramp demolition. I spoke with Rick Wallingford, the volunteer coordinating the tear out. He's raring to get started. We also received the final signed contract documents for the Oyster House grant back from our grant manager on Thursday, so we can now begin turning in reimbursements. Sweetwater Park, nothing new to report on this. We've posted the property and exploring security options to keep people out of there. Mindy Harlow is here with us tonight. We'll answer any questions you may have about the status of the park project. Staging area development. We received a bid from a firm in Woodland that specializes in this kind of demolition, along with one from Zephyrs. They're similar in price, but the one from the company in Woodland also includes abatement of the hazardous materials, while that would be a separate bid from another contractor with Zephyrs. I've asked a couple of different contractors to submit bids for the abatement so I could have apples to apples comparisons on price, but haven't received any as of yet. At this point, because we want to get this place torn down as quickly as possible, I believe we're best to go with Grote Brothers, the company from Woodland. Also, we got a bid for limbing the trees, but the guy got hurt and can't do the work. So we had another guy out today and he'll have a bid to me tomorrow. Says he can do the job either Friday or Monday. Called several others and they were the only two that responded. There are also appliances inside that we'll donate to Habitat for Humanity, as well as some other things left on the property. It's my goal to get that place torn down as quickly as possible, so we don't want to attract squatters, vandals, or create any kind of attractive nuisance. This has prompted the idea of us having surplus sales sometime this summer. We have a lot of stuff that could be surplus or perhaps raise some money towards a grant match. We check with MRSC about surplusing items, and as long as we don't have anything over $2,500, we don't need to advertise or anything else. We thought participating in the big Lakeland Village garage sale might be a good idea, but it was last weekend. All Ports meeting, the July quarterly All Ports meeting was postponed until Monday, August 31st at the Port of Brownsville, contingent upon Kitsap County being in phase 3 of the state's Safe Start reopening. If all goes as planned, there will be a pre-meeting potluck beginning at 5 p.m. and the meeting following promptly at 6:30. But as of now, at the governor's latest dictate, things are up in the air. However, if it doesn't go, there will be a Zoom meeting. Transient Mortgage Expansion Project, other than the electrical issue I reported on earlier, this project is complete except for the potential of expanding the fire flow capability, which we are not going to move forward on at this time. However, I'm going to keep the grant open until a final decision is made and how we're going to proceed with that, if at all. I'm going to take this off the old business agenda moving forward unless something new happens. And criminalization of the marina rules, once we get the cameras in place, we can move forward. Till then, nothing's going to happen. That's my report. Happy to answer questions.
I don't have any questions right now.
All right, Ted. Scott?
He muted again?
They're all muted.
Yeah, I'm trying to, well, let me unmute everybody.
I have no questions or concerns.
Larry, I just had a question about the trees.
Yeah.
So I walked around there on Sunday and yesterday. And so is there any thought about the smaller trees? So the big trees, that makes sense to keep those, but then there's some of those smaller trees that are on the highway side. So basically that's kind of boxed in there. So there's no pulling through or pulling out. They'll pull out of the boat launch straight ahead, and then what? They'll have to.
What they'll do is they'll pull out of the staging area, go to that place right in front of Betzinger's house.
Yep.
Back into the ramp from there.
But how many spots are we going to get out of tearing that house down? 8?
Yeah, I believe. Well, I think it was 10.
10. But then with those smaller trees, are they kind of stuck in there? Is there any thought about taking the smaller trees out, or?
Yeah, they're going to take the only ones that we're going to leave. There's those big redwoods.
The redwoods.
We're going to leave
Okay.
another set of redwoods behind the house.
Yeah.
They're going to stay. There's a big fir tree back there. It's going to stay. And there's a couple some other kind of tree between the fir tree and the redwoods. I can't remember what it is, but it's going to stay. Everything else is going to come out.
Okay, makes total sense.
Thanks for bringing that up. It sounds like we already dealt with it, but if I remember rightly, there were a few trees that were planted from previous port commissioners decades ago or something. I'm not sure, but you want to make sure that it's not some dedicated tree.
Right, dedication tree named
Yeah.
after somebody. Yeah, these were the ones. These were kind of the ones that lined the driveway. They were smaller, but they were definitely. They would be in the way. I mean, I was hoping they were coming out. Sounds like they are.
Okay.
Yeah, the only ones that we're taking out are what are on that property. You know, we're not taking out anything that's on port property.
Port property, yeah.
Okay.
And boy,
gotcha.
that house was in rough shape. I mean, I checked it out. Like, man, that thing.
Right.
You almost could have pushed on it and maybe torn it down.
Well, they had barn board inside, and they came in and ripped all the barn board out.
Man.
So
So that was the only thing I had.
okay.
Great.
Thank you.
The only thing I'll add to that is that we make sure we talk to the neighbors to make sure what trees are being taken out are consistent with what they want to see. So
Okay.
we can work with the neighbors across the street.
Yeah, good thought.
Yeah.
And then what I really want to do besides, as I said 3 years ago, getting security enhanced is I want to see the traffic push back on State Route 3 from the church. So when you pull out of Drum Drive, you have a clear view of sight. Right now, it's horrible. I've been through it, and I can't imagine pulling a trailer with a boat behind me trying to jump on 3. So I'm going to start working with WSP and see if we can move that traffic back a little bit. I don't want to interfere with Big Bubba's. Big Bubba's got a great group going on, but we need to push that traffic back so we can be safe coming out of there.
Absolutely. Yeah, pulling out of there Sunday, it was awful.
Yes, absolutely. So
You got to pull halfway out.
Mindy, I am so sorry. If you're able to unmute yourself, let's move to new business with Executive Director Mindy Harlow, and welcome.
Thank you.
By the way, there's some nice fish you caught.
Thank you. Yeah, had a great time. So yeah, thanks for inviting me to come and talk about the Sweetwater Creek Water Wheel Park project. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about it, but did want to mention that we have a deadline coming up on Monday to have any of the technical elements of the project updated in PRISM, which is the online state database for grant applications. So I'm working with one of my staff members this week to continue updating the application so that it's ready to go on Monday. So I have a couple of letters of support that I'm securing this week from county commissioners and some others that had been in support of the project in the past. So just continuing on that due diligence to get those letters of support. So yeah, if there are any questions about the details of the project or about the grant timeline or anything else, I'm happy to answer them.
So Mindy, I have a question. Is that I got a call from both of our county commissioners. One doesn't respond. But I'm very concerned that we're moving ahead without the other three Port of Allyn commissioners saying, go ahead with this. So I'm not against the project, except there's some part of the projects that I am against. I don't think we should be spending money to recoup somebody's property. And the county commissioners called me up tonight and said, what the heck is going on? I have no clue. I have not been in the loop. So I've asked the executive director to give me a call, and that's why we got you on the phone or got you on the Zoom. So I think if the Port of Allyn is going to be part of this project, we need to be part of the project. We need to be exclusively part of the project. We need to know exactly what's going on. We need to know who is being contacted, why county commissioners are being asked to support this project when I can't support the project when I don't know what's going on. I haven't seen, I was told about the RCO weeks later. I haven't been part of it, Mindy. So I have told the county commissioners to back off. So I am not, right now, I'm not supporting the project because I'm very disappointed in that I haven't been told about the project. I love the project. I understand the concept, but I haven't been informed. I really haven't.
Oh,
And I haven't been kept in the loop all that much either. Excuse me.
did we lose everybody?
Pardon?
Did we just lose Ted?
No,
Mute.
No, I'm here. I'm
Okay.
here.
I haven't been kept in the loop as much as I'd like to be. So if I know those updates are due this week, so if I could get some information, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. So Larry, I think that you attended the presentation that was given in June, right? So that was the last action that was had taken place with RCO. Last week, I sent a list of letters of support to one of my staff members so that she could start following up with folks to get updates to those letters of support. So I, don't know that you've been kept out of the loop on anything. We haven't really been doing a lot on the project since you attended the presentation back in June, so on June 26th. So,
Well, I just want to be sure that I'm up to speed on what's going on, because if I get questions, I want to be able to answer them.
right, sure. Yeah, and so I thought that was what this was all about. So here I am to answer questions. I didn't realize that there was a lack of support beginning to brew. My work as the director of the Hood Canal Salmon Enhancement Group is very multifaceted, and usually the grants that we apply for through RCO are very numerous. And so we are just now updating the metrics on the RCO grant application, and there haven't been any changes since the June 26th meeting, other than one of my staff members going and looking to get those letters of support updated that were, so letters of support from 2016 and 2018.
Well, Mindy, I've been everything has been on hold until the port actually owned the property. I think that's one thing, Ted, why a whole lot hasn't happened is because the port hasn't owned it. And now that we do, we can start moving forward. So maybe it might be better just to reiterate what, you know, our relationship is. And I have to say, I think it's important that we do get that property that, you know, from Peterson. That's pretty critical. I mean, that's a pretty critical piece to it, to make this park. At least
Yeah,
that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, you're right, Judy. If we don't acquire that parcel, then we can't complete the park. We can't reroute the creek. Part of the neat thing about the park is that it's going to reconnect the salmon species that utilize that creek, which include fall chum and occasionally coho salmon. So this will be removing a fish passage barrier, which is the water wheel, the outfall from the pond. So yeah, if we don't have enough property or the port doesn't have enough property to reroute the creek without acquiring that 0.9 acre parcel from Brian Peterson.
So this is what I'm asked, Mindy, every day, and believe me, I'm asked every day, is why are we spending $70,000 to clean up Brian Peterson's property? That's one question. And two, why isn't the Port of Allyn doing something to bring in economic development into Belfair and Allyn? So those are the questions I'm asked. And I'm sure Commissioner Scott, Commissioner Cooper are asked the same questions every day. And I'm very concerned why we're spending $70,000 to clean up somebody else's property.
So I can help answer that question. So when Brian Peterson acquired that parcel back in 2014, he acquired it specifically for this project. He didn't acquire it to, make money off of it. He acquired it so that it would be available for this park project. So the property had gone into foreclosure, and he directly contacted the bank and secured the parcel so that it wouldn't be acquired by someone else and developed. And, the hopes of the project would be, the park project would be, would go away if that.
And that's all documented correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I haven't seen that, but I would love to see it. And
okay.
I would absolutely love to tell people when they ask me why were you doing this when it's not bringing any money into Belfair, and why we're paying somebody $70,000 to clean up their property, why we're doing it. So I just need to know.
Yeah.
Where are you coming up with the money? Where are you coming up with the 70,000, if you don't mind me asking?
On the RCO grant.
Oh,
there is demolition of the structures on the site included in the RCO grant.
that's only part of it though.
Yeah.
What's that?
That's only part of it. It's not like 70,000 for everything.
Yeah, but
Go ahead, sorry.
I still don't understand what you're saying. 70,000 is still cleaning up somebody's property.
So my understanding of how this was going to go is that, RCO is, if we are granted the funds for this project, we will have funds to, we as in, we're partnering with the Port of Allyn on this project. So we is Hood Canal Salmon Enhancement Group and the Port of Allyn. And so we will have funds to acquire the property from Brian, and Brian only wants to get out of it what he's put into it. He's not interested again in making money on the transaction at all. And then also demolish the structures on site and remove any hazardous waste, which was there when he acquired the property. So it's not like it's, there may be more garbage there than there was before, but it was prior to his purchase of the parcel, it was very messy. There were buildings that need to be demolished and basically household garbage on site. So not a great place to have right next to a creek for sure. So then to answer your question about the economic development parts of this project. So we are ultimately, as you know, we are, when we hire contractors, we go through a competitive bidding process, just like the Port of Allyn does. And so if we are the ones who are, bidding out this project, we're going to have a low bidder who may be a local company who will be doing the demo work for us, the stream reconstruction, basically the removal of the fish passage barrier and the renovation of the water wheel. So all of those are, kind of short-term economic development impacts. But on top of that, we're going to be developing a restroom right on Highway 3 so that folks can stop in and utilize the restroom there, walk in the park, possibly visit one of the stores in our community and spend their money right here in North Mason County where we need those dollars spent. So those economic impacts, economic development opportunities that recreational opportunities bring into communities are well documented, especially through RCO and other recreation funding sources.
And I apologize for getting off. We have a gas line leak in our house and I'm trying to fix it. So I apologize for snapping off the phone there. But Mindy, who's going to maintain, who's going to patrol it, who's going to get those people out when they need help?
Get what people out when they need help?
Injured, sick. Have we talked to, and one of the comments that I made to Larry was, have we talked to the sheriffs? Have we talked to the fire department? Who's going to do what up there? Because they're going to need patrol vehicles. They're going to need help to get up there, to get those folks out of there when they need assistance.
Okay, so you're talking about once the project is developed, once the park is developed.
No, I think we go way beyond development. We need to go prior to development and start talking to the sheriff's department, start talking to the fire department, and start seeing what they would need to get up there to help people.
Okay, so the trail, just so you know, is a loop trail that is 0.7 miles long. And there is a picnic shelter up at the kind of upper end of the loop. So we have had kind of in the discussions having an access road up to the picnic shelter for emergency vehicles. That is not included in the conceptual design. The conceptual design was completed back in 2014, and those discussions had occurred past, earlier, or I'm sorry, after the conceptual design was completed. So typically, those refinements of a project design are done in the, next steps of the design process.
Absolutely not. Those should be one of the first steps we do, really. As an ex-police chief, I know what the first steps are when we develop a park, and those are the first steps we need to do, is communicate. We have a sheriff that has no clue what's going on with this park. We have county commissioners that are calling me up saying, what the heck? So right now, I'm opposed to this. So that's my opinion.
Okay, so I have, I guess we can always pull the proposal. That would be something that we can do for sure. I just need that direction. And I feel a little bit like, I guess I wasn't told that there was an issue. And, it's a week before these technical.
Mandy, you really haven't communicated with the commissioners. You maybe communicate with the executive director, but you haven't communicated with the commissioners.
Okay.
And so
I feel like I'm pretty well informed from 2-3 years ago, what the formation of what we were going to start here. Yeah, maybe there's not a safety plan, but I'm sure the fire department has the equipment and the resources to do whatever's needed to be done there. If there's a aid call up there, we're capable. I'm still for the plan. I'm
I
still
am
for the
too.
park.
Well, I am too. I'm sorry, Scott, go ahead.
I don't feel like I've been left out of the loop. I know there's not a lot's been going on. It took a 1.5 years to acquire the property, Brian's property. That's no mystery to me. It's all the same argument that we've been hearing for 3 years.
I concur, Scott. I feel like I've been informed enough. I did watch that Zoom meeting with your presentation. You know, I listened to what Ken had to say, or some concerns about it. I didn't see any big issues. That's what ports do. That's what these grants do, is clean up things. That's what we do, is make things nicer. And I'm for this project. It will bring economic development. I mean, we've had that conversation before, that if you have a park, people will come and enjoy it, and they'll spend their money here. I think it's a good project.
It's part of a bigger plan as well.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody could tell me what the plan is, I'd appreciate it, because there's some things that I've been kept out of the loop, and I am absolutely for a park. I just want more detail.
I think, Ted, if we went back 3 years, I think that's where you've missed out, and I think that Mindy can bring you up to speed there.
Yeah.
The plans, the drawings, the concept, the long-term goals. That's where I was sold on it. And when I say 3 years, I believe it was 3 years ago, but it might have been longer. I mean, the park's been in the planning stage for how long, Mindy? 10, 15 years?
Yeah, originally 2010 was when the actual plan was developed, but the parcel was acquired by the North Mason School District originally in 1997, I believe. And the idea was that it would be an expansion of the Feller Trail system, and it would help with environmental education. And, you know, it was really kind of a bigger, like you said, it's part of a bigger plan. So,
and I think
been going on for a long time.
When you came with the drawings and the architectural plans and the phases, when was that? 5, 6 years ago?
So I believe that I presented to the port initially in 2016, but then I also believe that I presented to you all in maybe 2015 or sorry, 2017 or 18, because we've applied for funding through WWRP. This will be the 3rd time. And so it's not been funded yet. And we've, I think the first year I was applying for it on my own. And so I had to use a category of funding through WWRP that this didn't really fit into. And so it was kind of a no-brainer that it wasn't funded. The following year, we partnered with the port and were able to utilize the local parks category, which is what we're utilizing again this year. But we did that midway through the grant writing period. So we really only had, you know, a shorter period of time to refine the proposal and get it in. So this is our 3rd try again. And we got some really good comments from our presentation. Those are all documented on the WWRP RCO website. So you can go and read through those comments and view the presentation as well. RCO has a copy of that you can view to, you know, see what all the details of the project are. But I'm also happy to, you know, go through and, go through all the project elements. It's, again, it's been a long time in the making. The conceptual design was, the current conceptual design that we have right now, we've had it in hand for over 5 years now. And it's, I apologize for not keeping folks up to speed over the last, 6 months. But again, it's not something that's been on my, I didn't understand that there was a communication issue. So I wish I'd known that earlier, and I would have definitely been better about communicating.
And maybe we just start over where we were 5 years ago and get Ted to where Judy and I are now. And Judy's a Belfair commissioner, I'm a Belfair commissioner, and we wanted to do something in Belfair. We wanted to do something nice in Belfair, and that was kind of our want for this project, was do something nice in Belfair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a YMCA in Allyn.
I'm all for it.
That was a joke. So Mindy, I am for the park. Please believe me. I know Belfair can use some space for people to grow. I just want the ins and outs. I am concerned that, as other people are concerned, is that we're paying Brian Peterson, and if people don't know the dynamics, we're paying Brian Peterson $70,000 to clean up.
That's not the case.
So why is it in the RCO grant that we pay up $70,000?
So we're not paying $70,000 to Brian Peterson. We are acquiring.
No, we're paying $70,000 to clean up his property.
Yeah, so we're not paying that to Brian though. That's
no. But why would we want a piece of property that we're paying $38,000 for, and then another $70,000 to clean up?
So I guess, it's included in the grant for a reason, and that is because cleaning up a property like that is number one, it's a good thing to do, and we can't.
Is that property so bad that we shouldn't even purchase it?
I don't think so. We have to do a level 1 assessment, which is included in the grant application, to determine what toxins are on site. My understanding is that there is not like a small underground storage tank on site, which you might see some oils or things leaking from. But my understanding that there is not one of those on site. There's a propane tank. But part of the process before you go through and acquire a property is that you do a level 1 assessment to determine what toxins are on site. So RCO won't let you acquire a property with RCO funds if it's going to be a cleanup problem. So
why don't we just X out that property? I think there's a whole lot of people that would love to see this project go through, as long as we X out that property.
So then you can't have the stream channel be
Why can't we?
able to pass fish. It has to be at a certain gradient in order for chum
I haven't seen any maps or anything where to exclude his property. Because I'm very concerned if I were to sell a piece of property and somebody were to tell me that, yeah, I'll buy your property, but it's going to take $70,000 to clean it up. I have a concern. And this is taxpayers' dollars. As you know, Mindy, I'm not beating you up over, I'm not trying to be rude, but this is the questions I'm getting. And you know the position I'm in, so.
Okay, so yeah, if we don't acquire the Peterson parcel, like I said, the stream will not be fish passable. So as you know, salmon require a certain gradient in order to move upstream. If it's too steep, they can't go upstream. So
I'm still trying to figure out why the Peterson property would even matter at that. I walked that stream. I know that stream. I'm trying to imagine why the Peterson property would even matter.
It might be wise if you take a look at the map and the layout, if you haven't seen it before, Ted, because that will kind of help orient.
Yeah.
Judy, I've walked it.
So right now the stream goes into a pond, which then goes over a spillway and then into this creek that goes underneath the road. So the idea is to keep the pond and keep the water wheel so that we can provide some environmental education related to ponds, and also education related to kind of our historic relationship with hydropower and the importance of that. There's going to be a water wheel generator house there that shows how water wheels generate power. And we're also creating a fish bypass channel that goes around the pond, so we can keep both the fish passage element, which we don't currently have, and the pond with the water wheel so that we can improve people's understanding of our relationship with hydropower.
Correct, Mindy. I understand all that. 25 years ago, I walked that stream all the way up through Ridge, and I understand what that stream does, what it doesn't do. And I don't think we need to have that property there. So that's my opinion. And
so I have some engineered designs, and they're available on the RCO website, or I could send them to you directly. I've shared them with Larry as well, that show what that stream gradient needs to be for fish passage up that creek. So that was something that was also reviewed by WDFW habitat biologists to confirm that that would be an acceptable gradient for us to get a hydraulic permit application passed for this. So it's been, designed by an engineer and, kind of reviewed by Department of Fish and Wildlife.
I have that stuff I could send to you, Ted, if you want it.
yeah, I'd appreciate some information.
I also forwarded to all three of you the comments from RCO during the technical presentation. I just got those this morning, and I forwarded them all to you during this meeting.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Mindy. I really appreciate the conversation and the honest discussion. So is there anything else, Commissioner Scott, Commissioner Cooper?
No, not at this time.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sure, no problem.
Thanks, Mindy.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mindy.
Thank you, Scott and Judy. Have a good rest of the meeting.
Can the public ask questions?
We have 2 more new business items to go. We're going to go to discussion B, discussion of the Lynch Cove pool repairs and upgrades project.
Okay, Scott, I think this is your.
Yeah, I was just, it's one of the things we put on our comp plan, and just thought if there was an opportunity to look for some money for planning, engineering, or architectural type work, if that was something we could start looking for, that's it. As you know, the pools in my neighborhood, I hear it, it's open, people love it. Once again, it's a project that RCO gives money for, grant money. If we could get in line, maybe not this year, next year, just kind of play it by ear, put the feelers out there, see if it's something we can do. And if there's other avenues, pools are expensive. We know it. It came up in our public comments when we did the survey. People want a pool, and here's one right in our backyard that there would have to be public access to it. We were told that by RCO. What type of public access, we don't know. I mean, that would all have to be determined, but that was it. I just wanted to know if we could start looking for something. And I thought engineering, planning, and architectural work would be a good start.
Has Lynch Cove HOA been
Yeah,
involved very much in this yet?
Not yet. I told them, they had a kind of a blank stare, like, what, they would do that. And I'm like, yeah, believe it or not, there's entities out there that want to loan money to improve pools, and pools are super expensive. And the conversation that we had with Kim Sellers, I mean, it surprised me that, yeah, we have money for pools. And, one of the caveats is that you have to make it, open to the public, and how you do that is, up to you guys, how we do it. So it could be swim lessons for kids. It could be, it could be anything. My thing was kind of public safety and swimming lessons, and opening it to the public for swim lessons was kind of what I thought. She's like, yep, that's great. Public swimming lessons would be a great presentation to RCO, and you probably have a pretty good shot at it. And they just went through a big upgrade up there, but yeah, just that's all, just engineering, architecture, and planning.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. to start investigating.
Yeah, that's it. Nothing big. No big ideas of grandeur or anything like that. Just it's on our comp plan. Can we start thinking about it? I do know the president, and she was kind of in awe that somebody out there gives away money for pools. And I did tell her there's a match, and that the homeowners would have to pony up that money for the match, and that there are criteria that they would have to follow for it. And just didn't seem like it was any of that was really an obstacle for them.
Well, why don't you and I meet up there and let me look it over so I know what I'm talking about, and I'll
Sure.
start.
Yeah.
And maybe have them come to a Zoom meeting or something like that so they can ask us questions.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Mindy, the president, lives 2 houses down. Julia, the secretary, lives across the street. And so they're all kind of in the general vicinity. And I talk to them not regularly. I wave to them all the time, but pretty much could get them in a room together. We could probably bring my iPad up and do a Zoom meeting at the clubhouse, which is right next to the pool. And then you and I can get the keys and walk the pool, and we could probably walk it while it's open.
Whatever works.
Watch the kids play.
Yeah.
That was all I had on that subject. Just popped into my head because I hear the kids in the pool every day now.
Great.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll move to discussion of long-term revenue streams. Lauren?
Before we do that, do you want to do a motion about the North Mason School District in the meeting room?
I'll make a motion that we allow the North Mason School District to use the Port of Allyn facility to do a Zoom meeting, or excuse me, to allow classroom sessions in our facility.
I'll second it, but I'd like some discussion.
Yeah.
Discussion?
My discussion is, I understand that we don't want them in there when it's rented, but how do we know that it's going to be rented versus they're going to be in there?
Because people have to make reservations and they'll give us a schedule. And
so are we going to know like way in advance that they want it every Monday throughout the school year, and then somebody calls and says we want it on a Monday, and then we tell them they can't have it? Will that be inconvenient for them?
No, what I told the school district was we have an opportunity to get paid to get in the back seat.
Okay. Yeah, I'm all for it. I mean, I think anything we can do to support kids and school and learning.
Yeah, we can't afford to turn away business there right now. And
yeah,
that's why we're going to have this other discussion.
Yeah.
But they were very, very flexible about how to make this work, is they just want to know that A, we support doing it, and B, we're willing to work with them and they're willing to work with us.
And it's 15 kids and they all have their own devices. They're just accessing our high speed.
Yeah, what it is we don't have broadband all through the county.
Yeah.
All through the school district boundaries. And that's what it's about. And some kids can't do distance learning because they don't have access to broadband.
Right.
They're looking for, it's not just going to be us, it's going to be several other places around the county doing the same thing.
Great idea.
They can't put, more than 12 kids in a room at a time. And if their rooms are smaller, I'm sure it's less kids.
Yeah.
So.
Commissioner Scott, did you have?
No, I'm for it. I'm ready to call.
All right. We have a motion to allow the North Mason School District to use the Port of Allyn facility for learning, extended learning. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? All right. Okay, discussion of new long-term revenue streams.
Yeah, I think COVID has made it really clear that we need to diversify our revenue streams. I mean, what we depend on primarily is, besides property tax revenue, is launch fees, moorage, and renting the gazebo. Well, renting the gazebo is a big chunk of revenue for us every year. It's more than $10,000, closer to 15. And I think we're probably at about $1,000 right now. So, that's kind of put a hurt on us. And it just got me to thinking about maybe there's some things we should be looking at. We should be creative and try to create some economic development at the same time. So I submitted 3 ideas to you, and what I'd like to do is just kind of go through them one at a time and see what you guys think. So the first one was a restaurant and lounge building on the North Shore. I know all of you are familiar with Harold's, a restaurant and lounge that was a North Shore institution for many years here, and just how popular it was until it closed about 10 years ago. What I'm envisioning is a similar gathering place. Port would construct a 1,500 to 2,000 square foot empty building on our North Shore property across from the marina. We'd lease the building to a restaurateur who would own and operate the business. We would collect money from the monthly lease and from a share of the gross revenue based on the tenant's Department of Revenue and/or B&O tax returns. Tenant would also be responsible for maintenance of the building with minimum maintenance requirements spelled out in the lease. We would need to design the building, which I envision as a standard metal building with an attractive front side facing the road. The initial tenant would be responsible for interior leasehold improvements and construction of the environment they want to create. At the end of the lease, we could either demand they remove the equipment installed or leave it. How that all comes together would be for attorneys to work out. We'd have to clear the property next to the parking lot and level it out, which we have plenty of room to do. It would also require installation of a septic system, since the building will need restrooms, but water and power are already on site. We could utilize the existing parking lot for the marina. Judy pointed out to me today that the septic system would have to be a commercial one because of the amount of grease that restaurants generate. So it'll probably be more expensive than, a standard one, but still it'll work. Customers could come from boaters using the marina, which would entice more local boaters for just that reason. We could either offer free moorage for a specific period or charge an hourly rate. Additional customers would be North Shore residents who currently have no dining and/or entertainment options once they leave Belfair. Funding for the project could come from CURB loans and grants, as well as potentially from economic development grants and/or revenue bonds. Leanne has a video of that she wants to share of what went on out there this weekend, and I think it's kind of tells the tale of.
I don't know. Let's see if we can do this. Oh, sure. A little bit of a glare. Oops.
People our marina this weekend.
That's our dock?
That's
That's awesome.
There's people everywhere. On the beach.
We need better restrooms.
Well, we just
We do.
$100 from that, from parking and stuff too.
That's cool.
Yeah, lots of kids, families, just a neat thing going on.
Yeah, I know them. Too bad I wasn't there.
I was gonna say, were you in the middle of all that, Judy?
No, not this time.
I need to go back to work.
So anyway, I think that project is a natural for that spot. I don't know what you
They
think.
obviously want a gathering place.
Well, the only problem I see, Larry, is that it's up against that cliff on the other side of the marina. I think another Harold's on the North Shore would be outstanding. I always worry about drinking and driving, but I just worry, I don't think we have enough space right there. I would prefer that we do it right down here at the Port of Allyn. I think our neighbors would hate us for that. So, but
Well, the thing is, we have restaurants in Allyn.
Yeah.
And, you know, during the summertime, the boathouse has live music and everything else, but there's nothing out on the North Shore.
Yeah, there is nothing yet.
We have room on the property. You know, I know we got that hill behind it, but it could be terraced. And
How big is that property, Larry?
that's, I don't know for certain, but I know it's a couple acres.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's a couple acres. Might be a little
Well,
tough to, you know, it's something that obviously we'd be in the beginning stages because you also have to have a certain amount of seating to make it work. It is a big job, but you know, North Shore does need some place to go. We need places to go.
Larry, I applaud you for thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
so when you talk about $25 to park at the Sweetwater Park, I thought about it long and hard. I agree with you 100%. I don't think I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's like real simple. Mike Dick did that on Bay Street in Port Orchard across the street from the Ford dealership. He owned that property there, and it just became a sell it yourself car lot. And he charged at that time, and this is a number of years ago, he charged $10 a week to park your car there with a for sale sign on it. It was up to you. You had to sign an agreement that held him harmless from everything. And you know, if he didn't pay, he towed your car away. I mean,
I'll tell you, going through Lakeland Village right now, we have cars parked on the side of the street for sale signs, and I'm sure they'd rather have much more advertisement down there in Belfair. So,
yeah, you know, the average used car sells in 11 days.
Yep.
So, you know, it'd be a constant turnover. But until something happened with developing that park, I thought this would be kind of a, you know, stopgap kind of little thing we could do and generate some revenue.
so what I'm concerned about is that we need those vehicles to be permitted, and is that something that's going to be a load on Leanne? And we don't want junk cars out there, but Leanne, if somebody were to come in and say, hey, I want 25, or I'll pay $25 to park my car there for a week, would that be a problem for you?
Registration and everything, if you can provide it to me, then I would think that would be fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Then you just tow it away if they create problems.
Maybe
Probably have to get some kind of permit.
Yeah,
Probably a DOT permit or.
I'll figure out what we have to do, but you know, I just thought it was a, you know.
Right now it's being used for a whole lot of other things besides it's not making money.
Yeah.
So I agree. Yeah.
So, and then the other thing I had was a reader board. I'm sure y'all are familiar with the Mentor Company reader board on Highway 3 just past Kitsap Way in Bremerton. I thought we could put a smaller one in front of our building between the bus stop and the corner of Drum Street. Or we could put it on the other side of the building and just use it to promote local events as well as our own facilities like the gazebo, the marina, the kayak park as a wedding venue and stuff when we didn't have it rented to people. But I know the one for Mentors creates a lot of revenue. And I personally have used it. I wish my wife a happy anniversary, the first 5 years that we were married on that billboard.
That's why you're still married.
Yeah, I guess. I thought it was my charming personality. But anyway, you know, I just thought it was kind of an out of the box idea that we could generate some money from, and we could promote our own facilities.
You might want to check sign ordinances. I know Belfair has gotten a lot more strict, so, but Allyn is different. So got to check that.
Yeah, I'd have to check that. And, you know, I'm sure it's involved.
They're both in the county. It's a county ordinance. So the only thing I would worry about is distraction from drivers. So.
Okay.
All righty.
Do you all have any ideas you want to throw?
Not yet, but I do like the restaurant, or at least a place to go, a meeting place. It's desperately needed. And a place that's beautiful, you know, with waterfront.
Mm-hmm.
Hard to find anything.
Yeah.
Well, I agree. Harold's was an amazing place back in 1986. So
Yeah, I spent some time and money there. I know that. So, back when I was a young man.
all right. Public comment. Do we have any public comment?
Yes, I do.
Yes, sir.
Ken Van Buskirk here. I wanted to comment first on what I just heard the discussion about the parking lot at Sweetwater. Was that what was being discussed?
That was one of them, yeah.
Yeah, I think
It was
with that,
parking.
with that particular notion, I think that property, that Schindelheim property, was acquired through a grant, and I think the granting agency would be the ones to bounce that particular idea off. I don't think they'd be too keen on that, because that's not what it was acquired for.
It'd just be a temporary use.
Yeah, but you definitely want the RCO to know about it. If that's, but
That's true. If you do something wrong on a property that's through like an RCO grant, I don't know what is allowed there or not, but we need to check it, because otherwise you have to pay the grant funds back.
yes, and that's very true. And the other thing I wanted to mention was you talked about something on the port property down on the North Shore, across the street from the marina. Is that what they call it? That's in the vicinity of where the well house is. I believe. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that property adjoins that proposed Grump gravel pit. So that's just something that you want to be aware of if you consider going down that route. So that was just two comments I wanted to make on what I heard there. My other comments, I raised my hand when Ms. Harlow was talking, but I wanted to ask some questions. But I guess I wanted to ask, I know it sounds like you folks looked at the RCO Zoom meeting, and at the end of that meeting, Mr. Coppola mentioned that the school was considering moving that elementary school, and the RCO had some, Miss Marguerite Austin of the RCO said something about, you know, it told Mindy that she better make note of where the adjacent parks are and what the deal was. But I think I would suggest that you table that particular grant until you can secure that FEMA report from the school as to why they want to move the school. It's the school parcel and the Schindelheim parcel are downhill of I think it's a FEMA landslide hazard area. And the school's trying to get a FEMA grant to move the school. And I think that it's going to have a huge effect on whatever gets developed there on the Schindelheim parcel or that Sweetwater project. And I think that's relatively new information that needs to be looked at and considered before the port goes any further with this grant.
So Ken,
Why they want to move the school has more to do with where the kids are located compared to, you know, where they were when the school.
Well, you might talk to the superintendent, because she told me that part of the reason was that it was a FEMA landslide hazard area, and they were going to try to get a FEMA grant. And if you look at the mapping, it is true, there's a big red area right above both those parcels. So I just wanted to share that information. It's relatively new. I don't think it's been considered in the last, I know it wasn't considered in the last, well, when they did the conceptual design for this project. One thing that Ms. Harlow mentioned was that the conceptual design was done in 2014 on the school district property, the Schindelheim property. And Mr. Peterson didn't buy the parcel next door to that until 2015. So, and the school had no idea that they were doing the conceptual design in there. They just went in there and did it. Ms. Harlow told the RCO at that Zoom meeting that there's a immediacy of threat because that property's zoned at R10. It sounds like if it is included in this proposal, it sounds to me like it would require a change in zoning, and I don't think that's been recognized anywhere. So I just want you folks to consider that there are some, as I mentioned before, I think it'd be good to have a public meeting because there are some inaccuracies in the grant, and I'd be happy to share them with you, but right now is not the appropriate time.
So Ken, I'm sorry to interrupt. You and I have been through
No
that
problem.
property more times than most of these people. Don't you think a park would be a great place in Belfair?
Yeah, a park or a trail would be an
And-
awesome spot. And I think that they could reroute that pond there. Well, first off, the water wheel is not historic. It was put in there as a attraction for the building down below. It just was simply a water wheel. It had no power generation or anything. It was just an attraction. That was a trout pond that Mr. Barber built up there. And if you could restore the stream, I don't know that fish have ever gone up that stream except the ones that the school kids planted up there in the 90s. They released them and let them go down.
I can tell you, Mr. Bob Patterson used to release
Yeah,
a
yeah,
chunk
and-
of salmon through there. So
yeah,
it
yeah,
used
and
to
he-
come up through there. The question I have is that we're going to take on this property, and I truly believe there needs to be a park in Belfair. And you and I have disagreements over this thing, but at the same time, we're going to do a park, but yet I don't know if Mindy's still on there, but we're going to do a culvert through State Route 3 where there needs to be a bridge. And I'm concerned about a whole lot of issues that I haven't been aware of. So,
yeah, no, I've had those same concerns. I've always been supportive of a park trail, but I know from the public records request I did of the port back in 2017, I know how much some of the commissioners were manipulated by Mr. Peterson. And it's not appropriate for his parcel to be included in this. And that's where I come from. So,
thank you.
Can I
Okay.
respond to your question about the culvert, Ted?
Yes.
So I just want to clarify that we are not replacing the culvert under Highway 3. That's not part of this project right
Is
now.
it part of DOT's or ecology's to replace that culvert at all?
Currently, it's not a
It's
failed
not on the
culvert.
list.
Right. It's fish still get above it. It's not a passage problem right now. Yeah, it would not be a culvert that would be permittable if we were to build it today, because it's a square concrete culvert with a bottom. We typically have to do bottomless culverts now. So, but that's not included in this project at all.
Okay.
We're just trying to remove the fish passage problem at the water wheel outfall.
I appreciate it, Mindy. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Are there any other comments or public comments? Is there anything for the good of the order?
Nothing for me.
All right.
Do you have something?
Yeah, I've got something for good to the order. So I've been watching the county commission meetings, and they've gone to something new that I think we should consider. And it's rather than having public comment through our Zoom meetings, maybe we should consider having public comment done via, they send the comment in via email, and then we can read it or have it sent in our package. So I'd just like to throw that out there.
Can I mention something about the county commissioner meeting? Just today, they decided to go to Zoom meetings
Ted,
and allow the public to comment.
I'm sorry, what's that? Scott?
I'm just wondering if my point's taken here, or if
Yeah, I understand. Is there any other discussion with that? I totally disagree. I'd rather see us do 2 public comments, one at the beginning that has nothing to do with the agenda, and then one of the middle that has absolutely everything to do with the agenda. So I don't think we should exclude any public comment, whether we like it or not. That's who we represent.
I would agree with you, Ted. I just, we're not the county commission, so we don't get 20 or 30 people. So I'm good with the public comment. I think at the end is fine.
Thank you, Judy. And I'll tell you, the few people we get at our meetings are in tune with our community. So I would rather hear their comments, their negativity, their positivity. I just want to hear their comments. I think it makes us as commissioners learn. So
just food for thought.
Thank you, though, Scott.
Thank you very much. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Okay. Let's see. Do we have a, I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting a phone call regarding my gas leak. Do we have
I move
order?
that meeting adjourn.
Thank you, ma'am.
Second? Do we have
Second.
a second?
All right. Have a great night. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.